On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. What we pay attention to, what we focus on. And I know I've got a lot of content creators in my audience. I know that. I'm creating more every day, I hope. What we focus on, we put attention to, we give reach to. We allow others to see. They may not have seen it had you not shared it. Now, many of us will share things that are almost blasphemous towards something. Maybe it's a crazy story on MSNBC just to demonstrate how MSNBC says crazy stuff. But when you share their crazy stuff, whoever it is, you give them reach. They say there's no such thing as bad press for a reason. If you want something to go away, you don't keep talking about it. You stop talking about it. War on cancer. Never going to get rid of cancer. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. You kidding me? War on weapons. No, it's just made weapons more popular. Everybody's got weapons pretty much now. War on drugs. Drugs have never been more prevalent ever. In fact, they're going to change the status of a few drugs. We'll talk about that later. War on whatever they call it creates more of it. And this is one of the biggest conundrums in our life right now. Many of us want to talk about the things that are ridiculous. I can't believe this group said this. I can't believe they're still saying this stuff. I can't believe propaganda like this is still existing. Yet, we continue the propaganda by talking about it. It's the similar thing, and I laugh because I do it all the time. Every once in a while, my filter works. And when my filter works, it stops me from saying something super stupid. I say plenty of stupid stuff all the time. I'm just stoked and grateful when something super stupid is kept from coming out of my face. And every time it happens, I want to tell you guys what I was about to say. But that ruins the filter. Where we're at today has more to do with where you are in your mind. You are in your mind. What are you focusing on? Are you focusing on all the crazy? Are you watching the crazy because you can't believe how crazy the crazy is? And you figure the crazy should stop being crazy at some point? And I can't wait, and we should pass laws to make the crazy stop being crazy. Or are you somebody that realizes the crazy's crazy? And I don't listen to them. I hear them. I get snippets. You'd be amazed how many stories I don't share. And I constantly want to tell you guys what stories I don't share because I want you to know I'm aware of the stupid shit that's floating around. I just don't give it an audience. All of you, all of us, need to be more discerning in what we are entertaining in our minds. Is it helping forward the bigger picture? Is it helping make things better? And by pointing out crazy, that's not making things better. You're actually distracted on crazy. That's not better. So let's quickly clarify. For those of you that are like, I'm doing better because I'm paying attention to what the other side's doing. No, that's not true. You're wasting thought, time, and power. You're wasting energy, literally, on stupid ideas. And you're entertained by the stupid ideas because they're stupid. It's entertaining. And that's where soap operas and everything else come from. It's that whole energy. Where are we at in that? Because I'll tell you what, right now, the big thing's the bomb threats. And I'm not saying they're not true. I'm saying, of course, they're true. Anybody that gets into this line of work is obviously going to have threats thrown at them. I don't know if I do. I don't pay a lot of attention, but some of the worst stuff I've seen is people wishing me dead. That was kind of when I stopped listening to comments. No offense, guys. I love it. I mean, I love the fact that you're out there making comments. I apologize that I don't really pay attention to them, but there's just some jerkholes that can literally ruin your whole day. And why? Why am I giving them an audience? Sure, a lot of you guys say nice things, and I love that. Thank you. That makes me feel awkward, too, to be honest with you. So comments are weird. I love meeting you guys face to face. That's an amazing thing to me. But this etheric world, it's a weird place. And what we focus our energies on is what we create more of. And in the end, I want to be known remembered. No, I want to know when I look back on my life. Did I do, 80+% as good as I was hoping I would? I mean, I'd love to get an A, don't get me wrong, and I should, but that's what I'm about. I say this because I think it's, one, a good thing to keep into the back of your mind. Two, I think with what's going on in the world right now, with the way the 5G warfare is happening, we need to be way better at this. And I'm not saying we're not. I'm not saying we're failing. I'm just saying to my audience, we need to be way better, self-included. I'm decent. I need to be better. You too. So we got a lot going on. We're going to be making the messages. We're going to be helping move things forward. But we also have to be aware of the infamous monster. And I just wanted to start here, and I gave a big, long prologue for a reason. Friedrich Nietzsche, famous quote, and I'm actually pulling the quote because I always jack it up when I try to do it myself. Beware that, when fighting monsters, you yourself do not become a monster. For when you gaze long into the abyss gazes also into you. When you stare at that thing that you think's ridiculous, stupid, wrong, it stares back. It creates a bond. Sounds crazy? It just does. Don't become that monster. Don't become the thing you hate because that's all you focus on. That's really important, especially for us that deal with this dark side of life sometimes. And don't gaze too long into anything for realizing that as you spend a lot of energy onto something, you then too become that thing. What we're going through is a spiritual evolution. It is not a normal thing. This is just a good remembrance of the people that are all around us. All these people that we are, quote, at war with. All these people that just are so crazy. All these people that dress in rainbow colors and blue hair and pink. I don't know why I'm making you sound gay when I'm talking about, anyway, whatever. Everybody around us is God's people, God's children. Is just the same as you, has the same rights as you. They may think crazy shit, but they got the same rights as you, and they should. Back in the day, there was a war going on. I think some people may say this is fiction. I don't believe that's true at all. I believe this is actually a real story. And it was done well here. But there was a battle going on. I want to say it was World War II. And they actually stopped fighting on Christmas Day. For one day, a truce. And this is just a remembrance of that day. And two sides opposed to each other, but yet two sides with, obviously, World War I, but still, or 1914, if I'm still wrong. That's a beautiful thing. And that's what all of us are fighting for, I hope. Or fighting's really the wrong term to use, but that's what we're standing, that's what we're forming a line for. That's what we're doing. Trump demands New York Attorney General Letitia James drop the $454 million civil fraud case for the greater good of the country. A lot of lawyers, of course, want this. In furtherance of our conversation with your office, we write to request that you completely dismiss the above-referenced case against President Trump, his family, and his business, and stipulate to vacate the judgment and dismiss all claims with prejudice. Whether she does or doesn't, I'm curious to see. I'm 100% sure there's a backup plan, and then about 4 backup plans probably following that even. President Trump has called for our nation's partisan strife to end and for the contending factions to join forces for the greater good of the country. It happens on both sides. This call for unity extends to the legal onslaught against him and his family that permeated the most recent election cycle. I say that because when you attack the lion, and I think the metaphor for the lion, I think of my couple of really close friends of the channel that are always in my live shows on Friday, Tanya and Nick. Nick, I think, is a Leo. If not, he's a big fan of lions. He loves lions. And we've got Trump the lion. Now, this bums me out because it's a phrase, it's that Christopher Walken thing, which is freaking awesome. And this is a pretty good video. Pretty good. It could have been better. But when we come together, which is what happens at the end and is just not exemplified well enough, I feel. But when we come together, we are unstoppable.
You watch those nature documentaries on the cable?
Yeah.
You see the one about lions?
Yeah.
Get this lion. He's the king of the jungle. Huge mane out there. He's laying down under a tree in the middle of Africa. He's so big. He's so hot. He doesn't want to move. Now, the little lion comes. They start messing with him. Biting his tail, biting his ears. He doesn't do anything. The lioness, she starts messing with him. Coming over, making trouble. Still, nothing. Now, the other animals, they notice this. And they start to move in. The jackals, hyenas, they're barking at him, laughing at him. They nip his toes and eat the food that's in his domain. They do this, and they get closer and closer and bolder, till one day, that lion gets up and tears the shit out of everybody, runs like the wind, eats everything in his path. Because every once in a while, the lion has to show the jackals who he is. It's too late to be scared. It's time to kill. I'm going to the other room. You come out when you're ready. Don't beat him. Kick his ass.
Every day I'm hustling, 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 every day.
Yeah, every day. Every day. And again, I wish that connection was like better done. Still done well. Now, something that's come out a lot, and somebody asked this email and he wanted me to look into it, and I was like, And I did. I was like, all right, whatever. I'm going to dig into it. I was like a quarter way in. I think I was looking for an excuse to take a small break. And I was like, all right, what's up with this whole thing? This executive order that Obama signed to allow propaganda. Now, I did actually pull up a few things on this. I'm only sharing like two. And this, I don't want it to seem like I just went to some stupid checkyourfact.com. Like, no, I didn't go there. I did a search and I checked about, numerous sites. But a lot of people talk about this thing that he allows propaganda, and it goes back to the Smith-Mundt Act. The Smith-Mundt Act talks about using government money to create, and this is like the Air America and stuff like that. Like we had radio stations, like Good Morning Vietnam was kind of part of that. We had radio stations that the government, U.S. government, funded abroad that talked about how great America is, how great it is to be all the stuff that we are, right? Like that's what it did. It propagandized to other countries that had communist leadership, or at least not necessarily what we, quote, claim to have here. We never really did, but whatever. We were telling people this is how great it is, even though our country is just as effed up, but we just didn't realize it. So the Smith-Mundt Act was all about that, allowing that to happen in foreign places, abroad, as it specifically says in the literature. What Obama did is he allowed this to be used here. Now, what most people have strewn that to mean is that this is given the right for regular news stations to lie. That Obama, in fact, made it legal for them to lie. That's not true. That's not even remotely true. I thought it was. I've reported on such, at least with that assumption baked into me. Come to find out it isn't true. It's not true. Never was true. We say it's true. People say it's true. So most of us believe it's true, but it's not actually true. What Obama actually did, and I'm not trying to make him better. I'm just trying to call this what it is. What he says is, yes, we can use this same propaganda tool inside the United States, which means things like public broadcasting and stuff like that actually gets government money. It's propagandizing to us, which is just essentially telling people stupid shit. Whether we believe it is up to us. And again, that's how it is. But people like MSNBC, for example, this doesn't affect them at all. They're a private corporation. Now, how they get their FCC license and stuff like that, a lot of questions there, but it has nothing to do with Smith-Mundt at all. Zero. So all this thought that all Trump's got to do is just change the executive order and then all of a sudden the news can't lie to us. No. Folks, we've got to stop listening to them. It's not even an issue of should the noise stop. It's an issue of should we learn how to filter out the noise. And that is what has to happen. You have to learn how to filter out the noise. They are not going to remove the noise. The noise is there for a reason. That's it. And don't worry about other people. Well, other people are going to... Who cares? What are you doing? Seriously, that's all that matters. What are you doing? I don't care about other people. I don't give a shit. First off, you don't even know secondhand information at this point, so get out of here. You know directly about you. What are you doing? How are you using your mind space? A lot going on. And we all are being asked to be better than most. Oh, but Dan, it's tiring. I freaking agree with you. Tiring as hell. I wish other people were more friggin' awake. It's annoying as fuck. But Al Sharpton, funny thing. MSNBC. Actually, it's NBC. WNBC. They're growing scandal now around this whole Reverend Al Sharpton thing. Him getting money. I don't know if we talked about it yesterday, but I can't assume all of you watch me every day. Most of you do, though. That's for darn sure. $500,000 went to Sharpton's National Action Network nonprofit, but nobody at MSNBC's management knew anything about this. And Al Sharpton talked about everything when he did his little interview with Kamala Harris, like there was no quid pro quo. Or so we find out that's not true. So Sharpton's kind of in hot water right now. MSNBC's in bad places right now. And really what this comes down to is this whole toxic thing. The toxic thing has failed. People hate it. It's ugly as ugly gets. It is the most disgusting thing that there is right now in current society. Is this toxicity that is spewed by the deep state. And people are disgusted by it. So now we're watching the deep state deal with it. It's kind of fun. I mean, let's be honest. They're at least a little amiable or whatever, able to kind of bend with it, kind of, right? They're not being totally destroyed by it. Dr. Fauci and his NIH director, and former NIH director, Francis Collins, once led a propaganda campaign against Jay Bhattacharya in 2020. This is the dude that has just been named Trump's new NIH director. Let's listen to some of the pain he's been through. And again, we want people that are hungry in these roles. This is, everyone's just going to get even with everyone. People that have been directly attacked by the machine are definitely going to try to fix the machine. Yes. Say it how you want. Don't give a shit. That's what we're doing.
So it's been revealed now, thanks to, this is the American Institute for Economic Research published emails from some of these scientists revealing that they want to discredit you. And they had a conference in October, early October, 2nd through the 4th, 2020. This is 4 days after the conference. Dr. Francis Collins called 3 of the scientists in attendance, quote, fringe epidemiologists, and sent a directive to Anthony Fauci and other senior staff to publish. He wanted a quick and devastating published takedown of the Great Barrington Declaration's premises. He stayed on it. Fauci was on board. He wrote the same night to let Collins know that there was already a devastating takedown of the Declaration in Wired by some science reporter, not a doctor at Stanford, named Matt Reynolds. And then by mid-October 2020, Collins emailed again to boast about calling the 3 scientists, you and your 2 colleagues, fringe in the Washington Post, told Fauci the ongoing campaign to take down the Great Barrington Declaration won't be appreciated in the Trump White House. But Fauci assured him, oh, don't worry, the Trump White House is too busy dealing with other things to worry about Great Barrington. And went on to make sure that pieces were being published trying to diminish you and smear you as a doctor and the theory behind the Great Barrington piece. So your feeling upon learning that there was a coordinated campaign against you?
You know, I kind of sensed even from the last year that there was some very strange things happening. Reporters started calling me very shortly after we wrote the Great Barrington Declaration, asking me why I wanted to let the virus rip through society. The Great Barrington Declaration doesn't say that we want to let the virus rip society. Quite the contrary. We said we wanted to take action to protect the vulnerable. We had a lot of discussion about that. And what I actually hoped out of that was a broader conversation with public health officials who know the living circumstances of the elderly in their communities and are perfectly capable of devising creative ways to protect the vulnerable. Instead, we got a propaganda campaign. We had people accusing me of wanting to expose people to the virus, wanting to let the virus rip through society. And it was what we learned. It was a propaganda campaign initiated and directed by the top levels of scientific leadership within the federal government, including Francis Collins and Tony Fauci. That is absolutely shocking to me. What it essentially did is it sent a signal to all other people, scientists and others, who were having qualms with this lockdown focused policy, and told them, you know, if it's a nice career you got there, if you're to speak up, you know, that nice NIH grant you have, well, I mean, I don't know, like it would be nasty if something were to happen to it. In effect, they had created a conflict of interest where you have these people who are charged of tens of billions of dollars of scientific funding. Careers of scientists are made or broken on whether they can get funding from the NIH. And so now you have the head of the NIH essentially saying, this is a fringe view to someone, you know, like, okay, you can ignore me, but like you had Martin Kulldorff at Harvard University and Sunetra Gupta at Oxford University signing on, and tens of thousands of others, epidemiologists and scientists signing on, essentially to call all of that opposition fringe. What was at play here? What they wanted to do was to create a false sense that there was a scientific consensus when there wasn't a scientific consensus. They effectively lied and created a propaganda campaign in order to get their policy, and unfortunately, they got their way.
And the propaganda word they continue to use over and over here is true, first off. Second off, it's not what Obama signed. Different form of propaganda. And yes, equally the problem. This is why it's always funny to me how people keep paying attention to like MSNBC or whatever the hell. Who cares? And stop giving them attention, because you're giving them reach. You're allowing their propaganda to show up on your platform, and you're allowing them to have reach. And you're like, well, I'm making fun of them. It doesn't matter. You're still giving them an audience. If you were to just stop showing them, then they would immediately have lost your 100,000 viewers or more, or billion or million. I don't even know what you got. You probably got a lot. Trump's new NIH director, Jay Bhattacharya. I still want to get better at saying that. So that's the only reason I said it. He had a little bit more he was talking to Megyn Kelly about that I thought was pretty good. talking about Dr. Fauci and what would have happened.
I mean, what would you say to Dr. Fauci if you could talk to him?
I would ask him to step down. He's done enough damage. The role that he's played in this epidemic has been, I think, in large part negative. He has silenced scientific discussion around his policies. He has pushed forward policies like lockdowns that are blind to the harms they have caused, as if they were the only responsible thing to do when they were not. There were alternatives available, like focus protection. And the fact that he is the head of the NIH, where he controls, or the head of the NIAID, where he controls the budgets of epidemiologists and virologists and others who have been elevated to the top of like their ability to comment on COVID policy, that itself has created this enormous conflict of interest. He should never have been in charge of COVID policy. I mean, in effect, he's been the de facto president of the United States for the last 2 years, setting the most important policy followed by the United States and actually around the world. It's far past time for him to step down.
Not to mention the fact that they didn't allow ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine, which are antiviral medications, which it's just funny. Think about this. If they would have allowed that, this is just funny hypothetical, right? There's a couple hypotheticals baked into this. Let's just have fun for a second. It's probably all fake, right? It's probably all fake, YouTube. Just saying. I'm just saying this because it's funny, hypothetical, what if, because there's some possibilities that might be true. Whatever, right? But what if ivermectin actually did work on stopping, viruses like it does, because it works, and people tested it all over the place, and viruses and worms and parasites, viruses, all that stuff, right? And then there's this whole other, like, what if cancer was like parasitic in a weird kind of way? Like, wow. Like, what if everybody would have started taking ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine or something stupid like that during COVID? One, the sickness would have likely have gone away within days. Two, might have actually cured a whole bunch of other stuff that we don't want to talk about right now. Funny where we're at, how this played out. So yeah, nearly dozens of Trump's teams, people that he's been trying to appoint, they've been targeted with bomb threats, dozens of them, right? So yeah, big time. I mean, do we need to give a list? I don't think so. You can imagine who some of these people are. Obviously, the Fox reporter guy, and Gates, I think, is probably on that. And he has, he's not even on appointed anymore. And I'm sure Kash Patel's possibly on that, even though I think that dude's like, nobody knows where he's at. He doesn't exist in real life. Okay, I think, let's refresh. Whoops, wrong button. Yes. Funny little thing. Kamala Harris's campaign aides, they're saying that they knew the campaign was hosed. In fact, they have internal polling that didn't match the external polling. I just want to let that marinate for a second. They had internal polling that did not match external polling. Why is that? Seriously. First off, I mean that as a legitimate question. Why is there internal polling that's not shared outside? How are we not able to get the same polling that you got? Why? How? You're supposedly talking to people. Can we talk to those people too? Or do you have some sort of weird electronic information that we're not aware of? Which I guess would be my best guess, frankly. And I could think of all sorts of things that they'd be able to do this with, especially with people they get phone numbers for. And anyway, don't even get me started, because it'd bum me out. Well, very few of you, probably. Some of you guys put TikTok on your phone. Ouch. Ugh. Ugh. Oh, my God. It's disgusting. Kamala Harris campaign aides suggest campaign was just doomed. They knew. How come we didn't? I mean, we believed it, but why wasn't that? Would it have affected the election? Maybe. I mean, it played out the way it's supposed to. I just think it's interesting. Everybody's got their own internal polling. We were talking about that with Trump before, while we were going into it. New York Times and Bloomberg, Barry, that was the first name. Barry Rutgers study showing DEI makes people hostile. There's literally this study that's becoming famous by Rutgers. And it talks about how just the very concept of DEI creates this weird atmosphere where racism is now found where it was really probably wasn't. But somebody's able to manufacture it. And it's creating this form of hostility that was never even, well, probably never meant to be there, though they say, I don't know, the road to hell was paved with good intentions, right? So, who knows? Who knows? I don't think there's any way when you give a teeny tiny minority class of people super power and be like, you're the most important person ever. And then they're like, sweet, I'm going after all these people I hate. And it's like, well, you hate a lot of people. And they're like, yep. And that's not good, right? So it's just interesting. Human nature is very interesting to me. I think a lot of people come at it from you're very close to the surface of it. I'm like, whew. Anyway, this is pretty good. I guess I'll kick up the speed because I'm yammering, but it's good stuff today, man. Good news came out. A lot of news, anyways. Let's check this out. This one's a massive political shift. Trump counties. Just well done, kind of showing this shift that's actually happened. They talk about the numbers shown to us. This is numbers shown to us, by the way. These are the shown to us numbers. These aren't the internal polls. Imagine what the internal polls show. It pisses me off that we can't see those. I want to see the Epstein list. I want to see the internal polls. I want to see the UFO stuff. I want to see JFK. I want to see 9/11. I want to see Pearl Harbor. I want to go, there's a bunch of stuff. Gulf of Tonkin, let's throw that one in there because that's probably a good one to remind people why you didn't want to go and die. Yeah, because there was a stupid war. No offense to the people that had to go and die and try to, quote, fight for freedom. Remember? You're fighting for democracy. They said the same shit back then, didn't they? How many of us died in that war? Now, again, any assholes that spit on soldiers or treated soldiers poorly they're assholes. That's not cool. I don't care how, oh my God, like the fairy dust fell on me and I just felt all good. No, I don't give a shit about that. You treated people poorly. We do it too sometimes. Dylan Mulvaney, I again do not think that individual deserves whatever. But they don't deserve hatred. Dylan's just being Dylan. Anheuser-Busch fucked up. That's who right? So, anywho, I swear. I don't think it's the decaf. I had the lady at the Starbucks that knows me and watches my show, and hi, Lori. I was like, she's like, Dan, switch to decaf? Please. And she's right. She knows her customers well. And yeah, no, hell no. Get out of here. I don't drink a bunch, but when I do, here you go.
Governor Abbott and Tom Homan are already working on, something to get the border secured. They're not waiting till January 20th. We have an ally as opposed to having an adversary. So that's great for Texas. That's great for the entire country.
Okay, now that's reaction from Texas. I wanted you to look at something right now on the map, and this is what has happened over the past 8 years in the state of Texas. This is 2024 now, okay? This is 8 years ago in 2016. It is a remarkable shift. 2 areas of interest where you've seen a flip of 75 to 76 points. All right, just talking to Bill Malusian. This is Maverick County down there in Texas. Hillary Clinton won this county by 55.8 percentage points. Astounding. Absolute runaway in 2016. This is what Trump did in the same county this year. Won it by 18.5. You do not find swings like this very often in American political history, much less over a period of 8 years. Let's go back to 2016. This is Starr County down here, southeastern section of the state of Texas. Remember, they've offered land, several hundred acres, for a staging area for deportations if and when they happen. Starr County, Hillary Clinton winner by 60.1 points, all right? Now you go to 2024, same county, it is deep red right now. Trump flipped it, winning by almost 16 percentage points. Again, 76 points. It's hard to find that. Spring Lieutenant Governor of Texas, Dan Patrick, with me now. Sir, good morning to you. Tell us what will change when you don't have the federal government suing you for cutting through razor wire, suing you for putting buoys in the Rio Grande River. What changes and how fast?
A lot's going to change, Bill, very fast. And by the way, those red counties you just shown, We also have the first Republican state senator in the history of the state, Adam Hinojosa, elected from a Democrat district that a Democrat had. It's unbelievable what happened. So what changes here? First of all, Bill, we've been on the watch, even though Biden didn't have our back and made our jobs difficult to secure the border to the best of our ability. Keep this in mind. The border with Texas is longer than the distance from Atlanta to Maine. Now, ours is zigzaggy, not a straight line like the East Coast, but that's how much territory we have to cover, about 1,235 miles. We've had the National Guard there. We've had our state troopers there. We put the buoys in the water. I was down there at the park when they threatened to cut the wire that day. They didn't show up, thank goodness, but we were ready to respond. But our taxpayers' bill, we spent over $8 billion. That's more than many states' budgets. $8 billion in the last 4 years that I write into the budget. The governor asked for it, and we put it to work. So now, between President Trump at the top, Kristi Noem, Tom Homan, Governor Abbott, myself, and the state legislature, we're going to close this son of a gun down.
Okay. I believe Homan and your governor talked last night.
Yes.
And you said starting January 20th, it is game on. Here is Homan a bit earlier today on Fox and Friends. Give this a listen.
If you want to secure the border, you got to put up border barriers. We've proven border barriers worked. You also got to end catch and release. We got to put the Remain in Mexico program back in. You got the third safe country agreements. And this time we're going to finish the job.
Okay. You mentioned the cost, sir. There was an investigation that was done. This number just stuns me. I don't know how they determined it. $166 billion cost of crime by illegal immigrants. I don't know if you've studied that or not, but when you put that with the cover of the New York Post yesterday, when this sweet little 2-year-old girl had a phone number written on a Post-it note trying to find her parents somewhere in America.
Yeah, Bill, first of all, add in the cost to our medical system, add in the cost to our education system, add in our cost to everything that at one of the 15 to 18 million illegals here that Biden and Kamala Harris led in the country that has cost our American taxpayers and Texas taxpayers. In terms of that little girl, Bill, look, we have seen this. You know, this is a sin. I mean, I'm going to just say it's a biblical sin, in my view, of what what Biden and Kamala Harris did. They let children in here. When President Trump was in office, we took the DNA to try to match with the parents. We also looked at the adult and the child. You know, was the child hesitant? Did they look like they were hugging them? Did they look like they were in fear? We tried under President Trump to protect these children, and we did to the best of our ability. And what did Biden do? He got rid of the DNA testing. He told the Border Patrol, just let them through. So today, as we speak, Bill, there are hundreds of thousands, nearly 300,000, that we don't know where they are because Biden and Kamala Harris didn't care, and they're either being enslaved in some type of work in a sweatshop. They're being sex trafficked, boys and girls, 7, 8, 10 times a day. This is a horrendous torture to these children, 300,000 children, and the blood and the sin is on the hands of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. You know, the Bible says, if you hurt my child, you might as well have a millstone around your neck. Those two people have millstones around their neck. What they've done to these children is unthinkable.
Yeah. No, it's interesting how elections have a way of crystallizing people and policies.
Yes.
And it has yet again. Dan Patrick, thank you for your time.
It's good to know. There's so many things on that. We are putting an end to all this, obviously. And this is paramount times. BlackRock Inc., Vanguard Group Inc., and State Street Corp. Were sued by a group of states led by Texas for allegedly breaking antitrust laws by boosting electricity prices through their investments. Literally, because of how they were investing, they were causing the prices to change. This is the people that invest your money in most cases. Russian central bank halts U.S. dollar purchases. Right now, they're just like, we want to stabilize the ruble. So, nope, until the end of the year, no mas. Or niet. Niet mas. I don't know how they say it, actually. Not even close. Niet's probably not even in there. It's some other words. Not these things react well to bullets. You know, it'd be Sean Connery standing there with, his Britishy Russian accent. Is the U.S. considering a gold-backed treasury instrument? The new dude coming in, Scott Bessent, says well, he's into that kind of thing. And a lot of people are speculating that might actually be what he's going to do. Gold-backed long-term treasury. So you could pump in, which might be, I'd actually think that'd probably be a good vessel. I'm hoping it's a new thing, but it would be gold-backed, so it would be definitely different than the Federal Reserve note. And it's a Treasury note, so it's definitely within the Treasury. The Fed's in the Treasury right now. I don't know. This is an interesting thing to be able to either A, take your gold and convert it, because a lot of you guys already have it, drslikesgold.com. You already have it, probably. Easily convert it into treasuries. How funny would that be? Might be able to go backwards on that, and I'm sure that's coming. Think about that. Just saying the world's changing right now, folks. And this is what Scott Bessent has kind of talked about. And it's a very good idea. And it talked about how Japan did some serious money expenditures to try to fix their currency back in the day and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Who knows? Who knows what's going on? But the world is going through a weird process. And I think many of us assume the deep state's being destroyed because it frickin' seems like it. Right? Is it 100% done? Not even damn close. So what does that mean even in the big picture? I don't know. One of the things that made me feel safer, like I had money in a 401k and stuff, like getting it out of that and into something that makes sense, that was one of the smarter moves I made. And I love these guys at Goldco. They're a great company, best customer service ever. Definitely bought precious metals from them. They're awesome. And I love the way they roll. I just love how they are. They're just, even their interactions with me, I'm a partner, so I'm involved with them. We talk on a pretty regular basis. They inform us of what's going on. There's a lot happening, and these guys do an amazing job at it. Uncertainty's pretty much the password right now, right? It's been highlighted on the screen. You're like, oh my God, that's on the whiteboard? I keep seeing that word over and over. Yeah, that's where we're at. DRSlikesgold.com. DRSlikesgold.com. That's like the gateway into being able to get out of your 401k IRA tax-free and penalty-free. Literally, it's like a key. You open up the door, it probably makes that clanky noise, right? Because that old system is, who knows? DRSlikesgold.com, DRSlikesgold.com. Find out how you can actually invest into something that's currently spiking hard because of what's happening probably in the world. Every single time the world's gotten crazy, especially the financial world, I should say. The silver prices have gone pop, 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 pop. They've spiked every time. They come back down, but they spike. Gold, since we decoupled from gold, has continued to go up and is right now just going up at such an extreme level because inflation's going up at an extreme level because our currency right now is in a very unstable position. Yes, Trump's the guy that we need to get us out of this mess. Don't think the mess isn't coming home to roost. Don't know when, that's for sure. I know Goldco's the best at trying to get you out of that fast, efficiently, and answer all your questions. DRSlikesgold.com. DRSlikesgold.com. Get out of their system before they get out of you. Up to 10%, by the way, of whatever your amount is, up to 10% of that. Free silver. And if you actually do it right, and we'll do a refresh just so I can show you, and you act like, oh, I'm going to click away, I don't want to do this. Oh, and this pops up. Fill this data out because it still applies to 10%, and you're going to get a free half-ounce silver coin with Ronald Reagan on it. It's a freaking silver coin. Come on. That's worth, I don't know, right now probably $18 or something like that. It's that's actually legit. It costs it's worth more than it costs to send it to you. That's probably true. I don't know. Who knows? DRSlikesgold.com, DRSlikesgold.com. Get out of that stuff. It's gross. It'll get on you like sticky. It's like that goo in Ghostbusters. Slime. I forget what the slime is. Just slime? Is that what they called it? Thought they had some sort of fancier name. Elon Musk's ex weighed in on the pending sale of Alex Jones's InfoWar satirical newspaper, The Onion, to claim ownership of the bankrupt conspiracy theorist accounts on the social media site. X stated, and we talked about this yesterday, but we get a little extra info in this one. X, in a Monday court filing, argued that its users don't own their accounts, and those accounts can't be sold or transferred to a third party without X's permission. X Corp's terms of service make clear that it owns the X accounts. For all you didn't realize that, you should definitely know that, by the way. You don't own your account. X does, but it's cool. X Corp Terms of Service makes it clear that X owns the accounts, as the Terms of Service is explicit that X Corp merely grants its users a non-exclusive license to use their accounts. This is what they told the federal judge. So Musk's kind of already said, hey, look, here's the thing. He used this to seize accounts at America he took control of because it was a bullshit account and they hadn't posted in a while and yada, yada, yada. He owns it now. X owns the accounts. Musk's just done what Musk needed to do, and a lot of crap people in the establishment, by the way, have been doing exactly that, being crap people and crapping up everything. Former FBI informant who is charged with fabricating a multi-million-dollar bribery scheme involving President Joe Biden's family, he's been indicted in a new case on federal tax charges now. Tax indictment against Alexander Smirnov was unsealed. This is the guy that was basically saying the Bidens were bad people. Yeah, they've done some stuff in Ukraine and yada, yada. And they're like, nope, he's a big fat liar. We're going to arrest him for being a liar, and then we're going to charge him with a whole bunch of other stuff. That's what this is. I don't think Smirnov's probably, maybe, I don't know. He's a criminal probably in some way, shape, or form. But I'm sure our criminal establishment government's also doing their fair shake on him too. So who knows? Who knows how that all plays out in the big picture. It's going to happen, though. That's for sure. Apparently, Biden's entourage... I don't know who these specific entourage people are, but they apparently use a Marine Osprey to shuttle them around. So this shuttle, I think, was supposed to leave D.C. or go to D.C., one of the two. And the original one, the Osprey they were going to take, one of the engines was apparently on fire before they took off. And so they decided to switch planes. I don't know why you would do that, right? It's like, it's just on fire. We got two of these things. I'm just kidding, of course. You would never, with a Osprey, try to take off with only one functioning engine. I could probably fly normally on one functioning engine and land that way, but not vertically. No. But anyways, yes. So they all got out. None of them were in harm, but they made a big damn deal about it. There you go. Big damn deal talked about. DNC union launches GoFundMe to help former staffers hit by the massive layoffs after the election. Now, I mean, there's a part of me that's like, I feel bad for anybody that's actually, lost their jobs. It sucks. I've been laid off before, certainly. And it's funny is when God, closes a door, a window opens, or another door opens, or it's true. So when you come at it from that standpoint, when you realize that's what's going on, when it's happening to you, albeit a little disconcerting when it's going on, you land on your feet. You'll be okay. You're like, something's going to happen. You'll be led to it. It's weird how it's actually fun if you pay attention to how you find it in the big picture. So, I feel bad for the DNC people, but ultimately I don't feel bad for the DNC. And the fact that the DNC is doing so poorly and now being sued by the same people that they had to lay off is, well, they're trying to, not being sued, but I think they were something we were talking about yesterday, but GoFundMe, now they're trying to, offer up some money to help these people out. That's pretty cool. It's somehow somebody's fault. It can't be my fault for having a job that was in a place that failed, right? Like, that's not a good idea. Biden makes last-ditch effort to ask Congress for $24 billion to help Ukraine. Do any of you feel like there's a chance in frickin' hell this goes through? I'd be curious to see what the Senate even tries to do. Because every Republican better say no, but from that standpoint, then what happens in the House? Every House member better say no. This is interesting. And again, the 20th, I believe, of December, we are, quote unquote, done with the budget. I don't know what's going to happen there. That's going to be very interesting. U.S. exchanges Chinese detainees for 3 imprisoned Americans. So 3 Chinese prisoners are being exchanged for some American prisoners. I feel like it's a fair 3-on-3. Mark Swidden, Kai Li, and John Leung is a result of years of intensive talks, apparently. So Biden's making some deals, hooked up with a couple people here. Freedom for Sweden, Lee, and Leung. Oh, these are the people that got released. I don't know. I don't know if they tell us who the Chinese people were. I don't know. They've been working on this deal, and I don't want to poo-poo it. I'm glad that we're getting Americans home. I'm wondering always who we're sending back, because so far every deal Biden's made has been, bad for our country. They sent back one of the biggest arms dealers in the world so we could get back a transvestite pot smoker. I feel like we really didn't make a good deal there. So my assumption is any deal that Biden made with China is going to suck balls, is my basic assumption. Chinese ship crew suspected of deliberately dragging anchor for 100 miles to cut the Baltic cable. This is asinine. I don't know, whatever. It's the Wall Street Journal, so you should totally trust it. It's freaking asinine. First off, dragging your anchor for 100 miles? Really? You don't know where the cable is? Are you that stupid? Come on. China can figure out where the cable's at. All right, start dragging your cable way later, and then stop doing it way sooner. Like, oh, we accidentally dropped it for 100 miles, and we didn't think to stop steaming forward, We just kept steaming forward and just dragged the shit around because, that's what you do when you drop an anchor and you don't feel like stopping, but it accidentally happened. Am I wrong, sailors? You just drag your anchors because sometimes it makes them shiny when you drag it across shit on the bottom? Is that what? Am I missing something? Gets all them barnacles off it because you just got to spend so much damn time in the frickin' water? So this whole idea is stupid. They're just trying to blame China now. They want to get us into war with China because that Taiwan thing's probably getting close. Again, DRS, likesgold.com. I'm telling you, if something like that happened, that will destroy the stock markets in one day. War is bad for... Well, some stocks will do well. Most will do poorly. Most. Oversight Committee hearing was going to review census miscounts that benefited Democrats. They're going to look into this whole census nonsense, what they were doing, why it seemed to benefit one side of the political spectrum versus the other, and how it seemed to unbenefit or not benefit the other side, literally where there was issues on that side. So we'll find out what comes from it. I don't need to spend a lot of time on, the census. And before they get the next census going, they want to make sure they dial this in, which makes sense, right? Because obviously House seats are involved and Electoral College votes are involved with those censuses. And when they don't account for citizenship, which they haven't been, that can affect things too. That's going to change, I assume. It'll be another one of those many things that we're going to push hard to make a difference for. Love it. Trump's federal prosecution ends as appeals court drops him from classified documents case. Special counsel is still pursuing a case against Trump, the co-defendants are saying. But one day after special counsel Jack Smith moved to dismiss both of his cases against Trump, obviously the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit complied by dropping Trump from Smith's appeal of his classified documents case, ending that case. Appellant's motion to dismiss the appeal as to Donald Trump only is granted, the 11th Circuit clerk wrote in a one-sentence order on Tuesday. So they're dropping it. It's dismissed. Yeah, I don't see any. Trump pled not guilty. Yeah, anyway, so whatever. This is NBC News. Who knows? They're probably just trying to spin it in some weird way. A bunch of people pointed today. Appeal, a point, whatever. Proud to announce his nomination of Jim O'Neill to serve as the Deputy Secretary of Health and Human Services to work alongside with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Also thrilled to nominate Jay Bhattacharya, MD, PhD. We shared some video of him earlier. He's going to be the National Institute of Health. That's pretty freaking awesome. Also, his great honor to announce John Felon as our next United States Secretary of Navy. Phenomenal. And okay, let's do that one a second time because that's all I did. I keep hitting the wrong buttons. I am very pleased to announce also that Dr. Kevin A. Hassett of Massachusetts will serve as director of the White House National Economic Council. A lot of this stuff's just stuff I've never even friggin' heard of, frankly. Let's be honest, but whatever. Hope you guys know. You're like, oh yeah, that guy does this thing, and he plays the Rubik's Cube. Whatever. I am very pleased to nominate Jameson Greer to serve as the United States Trade Representative. It's funny, the small town I lived in Tennessee when I lived out there when I first got there, Greer, they owned the hardware store. They had the deal with the phone company to pay the bill in their store. Like Greer's, they were like the town, like in Was it Roadhouse with Patrick Swayze? Greer's, I think, were that dude that had the helicopter. Like, they didn't have a helicopter, but it was close enough. Right? I think that was them. It was a really small town, so come on. These people, they probably had many horses and stuff. All said, Jameson Greer served as the United States Trade Representative. Again, don't even know what the frick that is, but he's going to be doing it, and he's going to do it well. Vince Haley, he served as Director of Policy and Speechwriting on his winning campaign, is now going to lead his domestic policy agenda as Director of the Domestic Policy Council. So he's just going to help shape the words and shape the how we orate that, as they would say. Sounds weird when you say it that way, of course. But Trump also said he's very pleased to nominate General Keith Kellogg. One, for making a great cereal, but two, serving as the assistant to the president and special envoy for Ukraine and Russia. So that's what he's going to be doing. And actually, Kellogg's makes horrible shit cereals. I was just, in hindsight, it was a funny joke afterwards. It was like, well, Kennedy is going to come after me for that one. That's not good. Republican bill to end the Department of Education has been introduced in the Senate. And so when the new Senate takes, I don't know, we'll see if they can get this like somehow destroyed, and then they have to redo it, or I don't know how that works. But this guy's put it out, Republican Senator. Who is this? Which one put it out? He put out the bill, though, which is one of the things Donald Trump wants to do. Bill aims to end the Department of Education and redistribute federal programs to other existing departments. But the biggest change would be allocating K through 12 education money directly to the states via block grants. They're calling it Returning Education to Our States Act. And it was introduced by Senator Mike Rounds of South Dakota. Yeah, good on you. And everything else. So, yeah, there you go. That's happening, folks. It's getting crazy. These guys, I love these guys. And this, again, just it helps. Again, this mushroom's got some very interesting research that's been done on it. This mushroom's called Coriolis versicolor. And it's found to help immune systems deal with things, viral, things like all sorts of things that we were hunching at earlier that might be viral related. Like if you've got a dog or a cat that's got any ailments at all, I would consider what we're talking about to be significant. If you're actually a human that's got any of these ailments right now, yeah, big time. And if you're someone that deals with horses, now we've got something for you as well. This mushroom helps with the immune system. Let's call it that. There's all sorts of studies that show the outward effects of what happens. It makes a lot of like the coats healthier. It makes bumps and stuff go away. There's some cancers that have disappeared. There's certainly some teeth and gum issues that have gotten better. There's just a lot of funny little disease type things that have improved in the little loved ones that we have. This is a great product. And I love them. I love them a lot, actually. And they're just a really good couple that owns this company that really started this whole thing. And it was all about, let's try to create something awesome for our loved ones. Actually, it came from studies, and then they're like, let's use these studies to make something wonderful for our loved ones. So, again, danradiostyle.petclub247.com. That's danradiostyle.petclub247.com. They have amazing products. For dogs, they got Mush Puppies as the easy way to get into the game. You can just give them some Coriolis versicolor. It gets it into their body. If they've just got something minor going on, highly recommend it. If you're feeding them crap food, and I would look at the ingredients, and if there's a bunch of stuff you can't even pronounce, I would actually consider either A, using the great foods that they've got at this company because they're very good and they've got the Coriolis versicolor in it also, or at least get natural foods, get better foods for your animals. We feed our animals a lot of crap. We already have to give them stuff like the flea drops and some of that stuff. We already give them things that probably aren't that good for them, right? Like, do we want to just bombard them with it? No. They're toys too, by the way. Are made in China in most cases. They use lead and all sorts of crazy stuff. That your dog getting lead in his mouth. You know lead's not good for you. This is one of the many things. They've got special sauce. If you already got good food, you can squirt that on top. That's going to give your dog a little gravy on top of their food. You know they're going to tear through it like nobody's business. They've got freeze-dried, and they've got a couple different regular dried foods as well. They've also got turkey dinner, like canned food. They've got great stuff. They've got biscuits. They've got mutt mints. They've got antler sticks. So you know, stick. Dogs just love sticks. They don't give a shit that it's like, you know, whether it's like makes squeaks noise or not. They really don't. They want something they can just grind on and be stoked with. These antler sticks do that. As they grind on it, which is good for their teeth and all that, it actually releases calcium into their body, the mineral that makes the antler. And it makes the dog healthier. This is what they're all about. And they got the pet balm. This is for their noses and their paws. And of course, they've got great stuff for dogs and cats, but the cats too. Mojo's is another one. This is a liver treat. So cats don't eat mush puppies. Dogs have it available because dogs will eat a liver treat. Dogs will eat just about friggin' anything. They lick their own butts. Come on, let's be serious. But Mojo's for cats. I got that Coriolis versicolor in there. So you want to give your cat a little treat it's going to love you for it, and you know you're actually putting something positive in its body. Seriously, go to danradiostyle.petclub247.com. That's danradiostyle.petclub247.com. Check out the great stuff. They've got pet balm for all the animals. They've got it for horses too, by the way, but they got the mush ponies. Horses are pretty simple when it comes to it. You either got to bring them some like veg or some produce, some carrots or whatever, right? Or yeah, some mush ponies. They'll be stoked on those too. So, and pet balm for their noses and other stuff. You know, I don't know exactly where you use it. They don't have like, where's their dry spots? I don't know. Horses freak me out a little bit. I've ridden them a couple times, but they're giant and they just are powerful and they kind of scare me. I'll be honest. So go to danradiostyle.petclub247.com. That's danradiostyle.petclub247.com. There you go. Yeah. My fear of horses has been exposed, it seems. Trump admin eyes CFTC to lead digital breaking news. You can keep it to yourself, okay? Fox News. Trump admin eyes CFTC to lead digital asset regulation. This is going to be a big step. Incoming Trump administration wants to expand the power of the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, not the SEC, the Security and Exchange Commission. So this other commission is considered to be a little less regulatory, bitchy, whatever you want to call it. Tomato. The SEC tends to be like just the relationship you never wanted to be in. That's basically, right? Trade commission's like your friend, like, hey, you shouldn't do that, man. That's a bad idea. SEC's like, no, nothing you want is fair. Like, so whatever. This is probably a good thing in the big picture. We're talking about a lot of money. They're talking about digital assets. They're talking about crypto and all that good stuff. So Trump is trying to lead the way, frankly. Gibson sends Trump a cease and desist to the maker of the Trump guitars over the iconic Les Paul body shape. Apparently, this guitar that was either given to Trump or is being sold, Make America Great Again for Trump, they're going after it because they made it in a Les Paul shape. I hope it's off a little, but it looks like it's identical to it. So that's what's happening. They don't want that kind of shit happening. We can't have Les Pauls. Which one's the Les Paul? This is a different looking one on the right. In my opinion, it's fatter. Which one's which? Which one's the Les Paul? Yeah, this is the Les Paul, right? Yeah. That's more than 10%, right? People help me on this one. Doesn't that look fatter? Am I wrong? This looks, they're similar for sure, but it's definitely, this is skinnier in the, this part, wherever that is, whatever you'd call that if you're like a guitar person. I have one. I don't play it enough. That's for damn sure, but it's beautiful. It's right over there in a stand, just looking at me saying, play me. And I'm like, that's funny. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, this is what's going on. So here's the other thing that's kind of funny. That's why I spent more time than I should have. This is funny because Gibson's worried about Trump's guitars making them great again in a weird way. They had 3,000 fake Gibson guitars that just could have sold for $18 million, apparently seized by U.S. authorities in a record Gibson guitar bust. So there you go. Lots of guitars going on. That's a pretty cool looking one. Righteous. I wonder if they play similar or if they totally suck. I mean, everyone would say that, of course, if it's not the real thing, it's not going to sound right. Probably true. Trump will redirect billions in unspent funds from Biden's climate law to real infrastructure. He's going to go after any leftover money from this stupid, the Inflation Reduction Act or whatever that stupid thing was, whatever that initial thing that Biden was pushing. Yeah, he's going to steal every bit of money that was involved in that. That's probably not tied down very well. It just sounds like Trump knows what's going on. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov says that Donald Trump has been trying to negotiate peace plans while the Biden-Harris administration was seeking to escalate the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Peskov made his remarks on behalf of Putin when asked to comment on an interview that Mike Waltz, Trump's pick for national security advisor, gave to Fox News on Sunday. He said, quote, "What we need to be discussing is who's at the table and whether it's an agreement, an armistice, how to get both sides to the table, and then what's the framework of the deal," Waltz said. And quote, "Indeed, from the circle of Trump supporters and those who have been nominated for future positions in the future administration, the word peace or peace plan is being heard," Peskov told reporters. "No such words are being heard from the current Biden administration while provocative escalatory actions continue. That is the reality that we face. We are in a contentious time where Russia has to be able to save face and needs help communicating this same information too, by the way, that they are literally sort of taking it on the chin a little bit in order to not start World War III, which would, yes, kill everybody. That'd be bad. Trump saying he's weighing direct talks with North Korea's Kim. Time to give little Rocket Man a visit. So he's talking about it. The word's getting out there, I think, intentionally, so Rocket Man sort of chills a little bit and realizes, dude, Trump's coming, man. Come on, chill, man. Get out of here. Get out of here, Goose. Get out of here, boy. Come on now. So he's going to, I don't know why I called him Goose because that's not appropriate, frankly, but that's what he would do. He'd do that kind of stuff, you know, and Trump would make it sound cool. He'd turn around the whole thing, and then suddenly geese would be important in North Korea. They'd be like the national bird because Trump called him a little goose. You know, making shit up, but that's probably how Trump would roll, I hope. Well said. Yeah, he's talking about hanging out with, you know, Kim again. Doing that stuff. Eating bugs. Yeah, can I come over and have some crickets and cockroaches with you, man? You guys throw a sauce on it at least, right? Some sort of bark dust or something. I don't know. Something that make it at least edible. Biden says Israel and Lebanon agree to a ceasefire designed to be permanent end to the fighting. I've seen stories that Netanyahu was cool with it. I hadn't seen the story yet that their Congress passed it, but I now see Biden talking about how they've succeeded. My guess is they haven't. I don't know what's going to happen with Congress. But maybe this ceasefire actually goes in. And this would also imply to me, by the way, Israel, Lebanon, if they actually stop fighting, is that like Trump told Netanyahu, dude, get this done before I get into office. So maybe we're done in Lebanon. Who knows? A lot to think about, and maybe a bunch of that stuff's true at the same time. Believe it or not. The fact that Biden has anything to do with it doesn't matter. He's on his way out, and he is so not important anymore. NASA discovers an underground city beneath the ice sheet in Greenland. It's like an old base of ours, I believe, that they found. An old Cold War era military installation. So this is what they found. And it's funny because it sticks above the ice too, by the way, so it's not like it was like underground. Well, it might have some underground components, who knows. But Camp Century, an abandoned Cold War era military installation, was rediscovered 100 feet beneath the ice. Oh, beneath. Nice. By NASA Gulfstream 3. Some new technology they're doing where they're trying to like scan under the ice and find shit and stuff, which one can only assume and wonder what military stuff exists underwater, because it's a great place to put things, by the way. You could put all sorts of weapons platforms easily underwater. You could put bays and stuff where you could actually dock submarines. You could do a whole lot of things underwater that are, you can't see easily. So this kind of new technology is kind of interesting. All said, they found an old base that used to be ours. Finally, DEA. They're holding a hearing, I guess, on the plan to loosen federal marijuana restrictions. I feel weird that they're including this with heroin. Heroin, LSD, and marijuana are apparently on this little list of things. Maybe some others, I don't know. This is the three that they mentioned. Heroin's like I mean, I've never taken it, but it seems rather gnarly. I've done the other two, and heroin's just, the way they talk about it. Who knows, right? Who knows? But that said, it's going to join it with similar drugs as Schedule 3 instead of Schedule 1 with ketamine and anabolic steroids. So now, if you caught getting doping, that can mean a lot of things now. Doping with dope or doping with, steroids. Who's doping what? Don't know. Nobody knows. It's crazy. Weird world, folks. Remember where we put our attention, where we put our focus what we try to imagine as a better tomorrow matters more. That's why, for those of you that were a part of the live thing we did, we were trying to focus when the storm was coming through, trying to focus on bringing a shield and a bubble over the area that was about to get hit by the storm. Not trying to steer the storm, not trying to undo what was already happening, but trying to just protect and save and prepare, or well, protect and save what was there, what was in the path, and make it safe. So it's where the focus goes. And we can actually make a huge difference when we do that. I wish it was easier to prove that to people, but a lot of the times when you do some stuff, you'll start to realize, oh my God, this seems like it has something to it. Yeah, it does. We're changing the world. You guys are so much helping me. I thank you. I love you guys. Shoulder to shoulder. We'll get there. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.